Hello and welcome to Google Classroom or Google Apps for Learning with the bonus Google Classroom. In a moment we will get started, but I just want to say that I am going to provide links so that you can access the website, and the best way to do that is to join the Pear Deck presentation. So if you have not already done that, you're going to want to join the Pear Deck presentation. And that is available by just going to joinpd.com and then typing in the code HJIISD. Okay. Now, once you're there, you can just click on any way that you feel to get to the main presentation, and you will see what's on my screen. So you won't actually have to watch the presentation. You can follow along on your own screen, and you can click on the links as they go along. I am recording this as a participant in the workshop versus the presenter, so that you can see what it's like if you were participating using Pear Deck. Okay? So all the resources can be found at wrsd.edtrekkers.com. So I just want to open a new tab, and I want to type that in, wrsd.edtrekkers.com. If you're logged into Pear Deck, you'll have a link there in a minute. But if you just remember, Winnisquam Regional School District, wrsd.edtrekkers.com, that'll get you to the main page, and you can click on access the course here or the link. Everything that I'm sharing with you in the workshop is available to you on this website. And on the website is a link to the presentation that we're using today. And also there's a Google Classroom set up so that you can join that classroom, and I'll show you what it looks like. Drag it over to the screen. And so that, there we go. So that classroom has everything we're doing broken up into docs for learning, slides for learning, forms for learning. And the slideshow will run this gamut exactly. So the bonus classroom is that everything we covered today in this webinar is available and organized as a class in this Google Classroom. So if you just want to watch and then later go to the classroom and open the templates, you can. I have also another way that you can use these the resources. So before we go back to the presentation, I want to let you know that if you scroll down the page, there's a description of the class, and everything presented in the classroom and everything presented on the slides are also available by just scrolling down the website. So the website page has, this would be the slide on Jamboard that we'll go over in a minute, the slide on Docs. So if you don't want to do anything but just hang out here and click when I suggest you click, you can do that. Now, if you want to stay here and work from this page, or if you come back to this later, these the resources are linked in several places. But if you see a link like here, it says Google Classroom with Jamboard. If you click on it, it will open up the activity in a new tab, so you can use it. If it's a template, meaning it's a document that you're going to make a copy of, so you have your own version, when you click on it, you'll see Use Template on the far right, and that's where you'll click on Use Template to actively participate in the class. All right? So, without further ado, I will repeat this information again. The resources are available on the website, in the presentation, and in the classroom. The classroom code is listed here. All right, so let's get started. In this course, we're going to highlight Jamboard, Google Docs, slides, forms, and YouTube. And the target is it's for teachers familiar with Google Apps that want to discover new ways to use the tools. There won't be a click here, do this, do that. For the most part, you're going to be presented with ideas for using these tools in the classroom, a little bit of time to try it out, and then the templates that you can dig into and use for your own curriculum later. So I just reviewed how to access the resources. If you're following along on this slides, these are links, so you can click on this link and it'll bring you directly to that page. So if you missed that, you can just click on the link now and go directly to that page. And I highly recommend that you bookmark this so you always have this at your fingertips later. All right. So now that we've covered resources, I would like you to just turn on your mics, give me a thumbs up in the classroom, or ask a question if you need more information before we move on. All right, so to actively participate, here's what I would suggest. I would suggest that you open Google Drive. If you're watching and learning with this slide deck, or you're going to access the links from the website, I would suggest that you open Google Drive and create a new folder called Apps Templates. So you open a new tab and you go to Google Drive, and this will just make it so that the workshop works for you. And you just create a new folder and call that folder Apps Templates. Okay? Now that will be right up at the tippy top too of your drive. So with the letter A starting with it, and that'll be nice. All right. So back to the presentation. Now that you have that, when we get to a slide that has a link with the template, you would open that link up, select Use Template, and save to that folder. And I will demonstrate that as we go along. All right. So we're going to get started with the collaborative Jamboard. So to get started, go ahead and click here. It says click here to try this out. Jamboard is a whiteboard app that's part of Google Drive, and it works really well with laptops and Chromebooks. Teachers generally set up a Jamboard and invite students to collaborate. It's very popular for virtual sticky notes. So you're able to, instead of handing out the Post-it notes and sharing ideas and organizing and sorting them that way, you use those Post-it notes in a Jamboard so that everyone can look at it in real time and reflect and go back to it later. So that's what, if you click on it, click here and try it out, you'll see what that looks like. When you're done with it, you can export them as PDFs and share them in Classroom. There's just all sorts of ways. So the way to add your sticky is to just click on Sticky Note here on the left, and then add your sticky note. And the question is, what's your favorite Google app tip or use? And this is to kind of get you thinking about what you already know about the topic. And this is something you could use in your own classroom. What do you already know about this topic? Name three characteristics of mammals. So if you're studying mammals. So my tip would be to use Control C and Control V to copy paste. Okay, so there's a tip, right? Now everyone can add their own tip or trick. All right, that's the collaborative Jamboard. And you can have more than one board. So I could add another board here, and I could add a sticky that said, oh, what do you want to learn? What do you want to learn? What do you want to learn? And ask everyone to put in something that they're interested in learning about, right? You've already shared what you already know, and then we could have another one that we close up with what was your big takeaway? What was your aha? Was your aha or big takeaway? All right? So that's Jamboard, and we don't have a lot of time to get deep into everything, but I would like you to take just about 10 or 15 seconds to add your own sticky to the first jam, which is, what is your favorite Google app or tip? All right, great. So now that you are a little bit familiar with Classroom or with Jamboard, you can see that we have a couple of links here. You can check out the for grades K2 Jamboard. It can be used for your daily check-in. And here's a Fryer model that can be used for, I just got to make sure that gets shared. All right, so now you can see this is the Frayer model where you can add a topic or word. Now, the Frayer model was designed as a graphic organizer to help students learn the meaning of new vocabulary words. You can use it to help them develop understanding of topics in general. So you've got whatever the topic or word is, the definition of it, some facts, some examples, and non-examples. And this is an example of the Frayer model finished. And here's another one on boycott for what it's worth. And then here's another one that you can make a copy of. So if you are new to Jamboard and you're looking for reasons to use it, I would say definitely use it for the sticky brainstorming, and then possibly use it for your daily check-ins, and try the Frayer model out. So that should be one takeaway. Okay. So move your dot around and tell us, how do you feel about Jamboard? All right, so I'll show you what it looks like on my end. And it looks like the responses are thumbs up. So that's great. That's really great. Glad you liked it. So now we're going to be taking a look at Docs and Draw for Learning. We're going to highlight Google Docs for research, and then talk a little bit about multimedia text sets, and then show you how to do a mashup for research and writing with Docs and Draw. So the basics are, do you know how to use the basic tools for research with Google Docs? You'll want to click on the link to use this template right now, and this will be the first example where I'll walk you through how to use the template and save it to that folder in Google Drive. Google Docs have tons of tools embedded in them that can assist with learning quests, and this practice template uses the topic of volcanoes for hands-on practice using the various tools in Docs. So click on the link. If you're using the website, you can click on the link on the website, and you're going to want to select use this template, because you can't do anything until you select use this template. And when you select use this template, it will give you your own copy where you're the owner. However, it is not saved in the proper folder in your Google Drive, so you're going to want to select move and then move it into apps templates. That's all. Easy peasy. And I can't believe I just said that, because I promised I wouldn't say that anymore. But that will keep your drive organized. So if I go to Drive and I open up apps templates now, it's there. So we're not making a mess of your drive, and you'll have all of those things we covered today in that folder. Now I'm going to take a little bit of time to go through this, okay? We have research and learning with Google Docs. And before we go down to the bottom, I'm going to start at the end. On the left-hand side, you can see my outline. I've got research, find out facts, insert images, voice typing, outline features, draw it, and citation tool. Now, the reason you see these listed on my outline view is because I have created styles with them. When I highlight this normal text here, the style says normal text. When I highlight research and learning, it says title, so it's there. When I highlight find out facts, it's a heading 2. Okay, so that's how that works. And if this were, if we made this a heading 1, right? These would all be heading 2. They would go 1, 2, 3, all be subheadings, all right? So that's just so you know, that's how, when you make things headings, when you highlight something and you change it from normal text, see it's not there, and you change it and add a heading to it, you can set up outline view and have clickable links to sections of your document. So that should be one takeaway. This is excellent for large documents, or when you want to have students or anyone go to a point in a doc that you need them to go to. Okay, so now let's get on to the research and learning. We're going to select the Explore tool. Now, what is the Explore tool? The Explore tool is in the bottom right-hand corner, and type the word volcano. So I'm going to type the word volcano. And I'm looking to highlight a definition and drag over. So a volcano is a rupture in the crust, da 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 da. Here's my definition. And generally speaking, I can find definitions fairly quickly, but I get that definition over there. Now I've copied and pasted it there. Maybe I want to insert a quick footnote for that. Maybe I do. And since this actually came from the Wikipedia, I should have brought it in from there. If I click on this cite as a footnote, it'll put a little one there, and then it will cite it at the bottom as a footnote. Just so I've copied and dragged it in, I've got it quick, but now it's there. Here I've asked to add facts. So if I were to add, go onto a website, I could find some more facts about volcanoes, such as they erupt. Volcanoes erupt. Okay, we don't need to get in deep on volcano research. So that's just a couple of things. You can find quick information using the Explore tool and drag things in. You can also find images with the Explore tool. So we want to insert image. We're going to add an image below, and we're going to modify the image. So I'm going to hit the Enter key a couple times, and then I'm going to select images, and I'm going to locate an image, and I'm going to insert that image. Now it goes into my doc pretty big. So now I have the option to edit it by clicking on it and choosing image options, and that will give me all of my image options. And all of my image options include the size and rotation, but I can resize it by clicking and dragging, and I'm sure all of you are pretty familiar with that. I can also change the way that it wraps around text. So maybe I want it to be to the right of my text. So I'm going to choose wrap text and move it where I want it to be. And if you choose wrap text, you can increase the margins around it. Okay, so if you want it to be smaller or larger, you can. All right. Now you can put your images behind text if you want to fade them in. And if they're not the right color for that, you would then choose the recolor option, and you could make them a different color, and you can also make other adjustments to decrease the brightness, other way, and the contrast, so that if you wanted to fade it behind text, you could. All right, we're going to leave it just the way it is and let you know that you have a variety of options with the images. Just right click and choose image options. Okay. If you go too far and you're just like, I don't know, I don't like it, you can just reset the image and it'll bring it back to where it was. All right, the other feature you have in the Google Doc is voice typing. So we're going to click in the box below, and then we're going to choose Tools, and then select Voice Typing. A volcano is, and then we're going to turn it on by selecting the turn on, and we're going to allow the microphone. A volcano is a rupture in the crust of a planetary mass object such as Earth that allows hot lava, volcanic ash, and gases to escape from a magma charter below the surface. Now, I don't know how to do all the fancy things that you need to do, but if you wanted to really leverage voice typing, you could print out the help, which tells you all of the commands, how to select text, what to say to select the last word, what to say to move around, go to this, go to that. So that's voice typing. It's a great tool. A lot of students have trouble writing, but they can click on that voice typing and say a paragraph fairly quickly. Sometimes students are really good at saying what they know and not typing or writing what they know. That's another way for them to demonstrate understanding. So a great way to provide differentiated instruction and universal design for learning. View and use outline features. We just went over that, but if you were to highlight the text and I change it again, like to a different heading, you would see on the heading menu here, because I made it a heading 1 instead of 2, this is now has been pushed to the left. So I'm going to put it back to heading 2. And then we also have the option to draw it. So if you click on this link, there is a tool called Canvas, and it's a pretty quick drawing tool. So let's say that you wanted students to draw a diagram of something fairly quickly. Works great on touchscreen, but even if they don't have touchscreen, which I do not, I could say, okay, I'm gonna use red, and I'm gonna make the size big, and I'm gonna draw this volcano. And there's that, and then this is this, and then I could label it. So the student makes the drawing, and then all you have to do is choose Save as Image, and it downloads, and then you can just drag it and put it into the doc. So I'm going to hit the Enter key a few times, drag it up, and voila, there's your image. All right. And last but not least is the citation tool. So let's say that you need a bibliography and you're going to create a works cited. So we're going to go to Tools and we're going to go to Citations. All right. And I suggest you do this as you go along. But under Source, you would want to add a citation source, select the source type. Okay. And it'll prompt you to add the information. More common than not, we're using websites. So I gave you a link you can add. So I'm going to copy this link in and I'm going to paste this link in and then search for that as a citation. And it tells me a few things are missing, which means I could click on Cite manually and go find that information, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to click on Continue. Then I'm going to select Add Citation Source. So I'm just going to go and add it. And let's say that I added everything and I'm done. I can click on Insert Works Cited. All right. So as I go along, I can leave and come back later, add more, and update my works cited. But you can see that's a very handy way to get a pretty decent works cited into a Google Doc. So that's research with Google Docs. And I'm going to pause now and give you a minute to wrap that up because we're going to move on into multimedia text sets next. Okay, that is saved in your Google Drive. So I would get rid of all the tabs. And remember that we're running through this quickly because you'll have time. So what's your favorite feature from this activity? Wrong option. Let's skip that for now. So we're going to look at multimedia text sets next. So multimedia text set is a document with links to a variety of different types of media, and the instructional intention is to give students opportunities to explore content that has been curated for a specific purpose. So they're exploring to learn and they're engaging with content. And rather than putting in a new assignment for every chapter, for every topic, you're literally putting it all in one doc. So let's see how this looks. Please click on Earth in Action, Multimedia Text Set, and go ahead and open that up. When you get that opened up, go ahead and choose Use Template. And then add that to your apps folder in Google Drive. So you're going to click on Move. And you're going to go to Apps Templates and just move here. Okay. So now you have your own copy. And this would be something you would create for your own students and share in Google Classroom, giving them each their own copy. So let's go ahead and scroll down and you'll see the topic is Earth in Action, and I am giving them one document for the whole week's worth of activities or the whole unit's worth of activities. It can be as involved or as simple as you want. On the left-hand side, I've got this column that says text and media to teach me. And on the right-hand side of the column is I learned / makes me think. Now, on the left-hand side will be links to YouTube video, articles, interactive things, and on the right-hand side will be the instructions for them to share their thoughts. So let's take the YouTube video first. So I click on it, it opens up in a new window, and they watch the video. Already they're engaged, or they should be. I mean, that's a cool way to start a unit. I can't imagine a student wouldn't be interested in seeing something like that. What it does though, however, is they watch it, and when they're done, they go back and it says, notice the lines that form as the snow is breaking apart from the mountain. What do those lines indicate? Now they may research it, they may take a guess, but here they are, they're getting acclimated with what you want to teach them, and they're going to type right on the doc. Then you ask them to read something. So you find an article to read, and you ask them some clarifying questions that they couldn't possibly answer if they hadn't read some part of the article. So here's an article, and it could be as simple or as involved depending on the age level. So remember, this could be, littles to bigs. And think about what you would have done differently and write it below. Like, you can't respond to that if you haven't read the article. So just remember, that's a great way to just, have them give you some feedback. Then we have something called Think Links. How do avalanches happen? Go to this document, add a row, list one thing you learned about avalanches from this Think Link. You cannot write about something someone else wrote. So we're going to go to the Think Links first. So open this up. And this is a Google slide, and this takes me to avalanche safety, and this takes me to avalanche survival. So there's a variety of things for them to look at here. Now this was made with a Google slide where you added images and a little text box, and it linked to a different place on the web, and they would go back and review all of these things. Okay. Now you could make a second slide on this where, they would have other things to think about to do, but this is just a single slide. And this is like a tool called ThinkLing, but it does not cost you anything. You can create it with Google Slides. Blend Space, Earth in Action. So I go ahead and open this link up, and there is an Earth in Action activity for me. And it says, click on this link to vote on which is more interesting. So they click on this link, and it takes them to a Google Doc, and they vote on what they think is more interesting, and they hit submit. Okay. Science book. They may click on this link to read a page out of the book and answer the question. And then here it says study guide practice, create a Google form with 5 questions from this unit. So they may have to go back to the Think link to do it, but the whole unit is done in this one document. So that's a multimedia text set. You have your own copy now, so you can replace what's here with something that you can use in your classroom, or make a copy of this and then edit it. Okay. So close out of all the links that you opened up now. And we'll go back to our next example. Math place value. So go ahead and open this one up. Again, select use template. You're going to want to put this in your Google Drive. And this is an example of how you can set up a different type of multimedia text set. For math, this is for a younger level, but it could be for older level, depending on what you're teaching. This is on place value. And it says, make a copy of this doc, which they do not have to do if you're using Google Classroom or if you use the use template option. Complete as many squares as you can. You do not have to go in any particular order. Use the fill tool to color in what you've completed. After exploring squares, go deeper and create here. So you can see that there are links and you can explore those if you wanted to, but you could also just make a copy of this and use it as a way to create something else for your classroom. So these are a couple of examples and templates of multimedia text sets. They're not rocket science. Again, it's a concierge service for you. Like, wow, I've used this template for a variety of different topics. I've even created a workshop, this same workshop, in a multimedia text set. So really, really can be used for anything. It's a great format. All right. Okay, how can you use multimedia text in your instructional setting? Go ahead and add a response. Oh, okay. All right, great. And this is going to be a quick demo. I'm not going to, you can or cannot add the links, so you can add the links now. I'm just going to explain to you how they work. So this is a Google Doc. We're doing research. In this scenario, we've asked our students in 5th, 6th grade, hey, research a Russian czar. And the students are struggling with, trying to come up with like, what would be exciting about it, and I want to have them be engaged in the topic. So one way to do that is to have a pre-writing strategy, because pre-writing strategies improve students' writing in terms of content, ideas, organization, and voice. It also helps increase self-motivation and creativity towards writing. Students do often have trouble engaging with a research topic, or they're too young to write a paper. So Draw is a way they can create a magazine cover to represent things they have learned about their topic. And so in this case, the article titles are actually the topics for each supporting paragraph in the paper. So you can have as few or as many as you want. In this example, we have 3. So the grab and go document is here. I've already completed the research for you. So you just click on Use Template and add that to your Google Drive. And you can see I've got, I can edit this more. It's not perfect. So it's like kind of like a draft. You could make some modifications to it, but you can see I've got a title and I've got some supporting paragraphs. All right. And then you can go ahead and grab the magazine cover and choose Use Template. And while that's processing, I'm going to put this in my Google Drive. And pause this video if it's going too fast. And then I'm going to also put this in the same folder in my Google Drive. Taking the time to do this during the webinar is worth it for you. Okay, so this is what the students have developed. Now they've developed, there is an Explore tool in Google Draw. It just doesn't have a button in the bottom right-hand corner. So this student could have researched Ivan the Terrible by using the Explore tool and found websites this way. Could have even found the image. Oh, looks like he did this way. And then the student has these like links. How did Ivan rise to power? Ivan's greatest accomplishments revealed. Discover Ivan's impact on the nation. He's the first Tsar of Russia. So his key information that he's going to include in the paper was actually placed in the magazine article first, and then the student wrote the paper. But they gathered a lot of pre-schema to become interested and familiar with the topic. So without further ado, I'm going to insert my magazine cover into my paper, okay? So I click on Insert, I choose Drawing, and I choose From Drive, and I grab that drawing from Drive, and I can link to it. It says only editors can update the drawing, but you can link to it if you want. And now I have my magazine drawing in here. And if you want to change the margins so that it runs to the margin, you can. But what you can also do is click on File, Page Setup, and change the background color to match the background color of your document. I just took a guess and I guessed wrong. So I'm try one more time. File, page setup, page color. I think it's a basic color, but I could be wrong. Yeah. So now you have it matches the color. There's your magazine article. You can add like, insert a horizontal line, or now you have the more ability to do things with the doc, and it looks kind of snazzy when you're done. So if you want to publish it to the web, you can, so it becomes a paperless format. So if I click on file and I go to page setup, there is this pageless option. So I click OK, and it makes like a pageless option to make it kind of cool looking. All right. So anyway, so that's that. That's a mashup with Google Draw and Research for pre-writing. And now we're just going to take a quick break. How do you feel about mashups and Draw? Is it on fire, or are you never going to use something like that? All right, so now we're going to head over to Google Slides for Learning, and then we'll close out with Forms and YouTube. And in this, we're really just looking at the concept of Jigsaw. So Google Slides aren't just for presenting of a final product. They can be part of constructing knowledge independently, collaboratively, or both. So in this Learn to Slide activity, we'll take a look at some fun features in Google Slides, and then we'll turn it into a collaborative deck. So go ahead and click on the link, and you're going to open that up. Ooh, I've got to fix that. All right, so that's handled. Click on the the Learn to Slide file, and this will prompt you to use the template. So you're going to want to click on Use Template and add it to your Apps folder in Google Drive before we get started. And then the directions are in the notes. So if you look in the notes for the Google Slides, the directions are there. And that's why we can use Google Slides. One way to use slides is, okay, I would like you to make a slides, but I can put my instructions in the notes, and on each slide, the students can follow the instructions. So in this example, I'm going to ask you to explore in Google Slides, use the Explore. So click on the X to get rid of everything. And in the bottom right-hand corner, you would select Explore. And it says Explore in Google Slides dynamically offers layout suggestions to help your content shine. They have found a way to help people save time with slides formatting. So if you click on Explore, it looks at the slide and says, you can do better than that. So what option would you like? So when I click here, it says, how would you like this slide to look? And then I decide what I want, and I select that. Once you make your selection, you can modify it as well. So if I wanted to make my title bigger after I did that, I could do that. But you can see it's allowed me to make something pretty special, pretty quick. The other piece, we'll go to slide 2. It says, let's share what topic we have decided to research for our adopted country. So let's say we're doing a jigsaw on a country or city project. So you pick your country name, and it looks like mine is going to be Czech Republic. Just pick any country. All right, so this is any topic. So this is science, this is social studies, this is math, anything. And then put your name here. And then it says select insert image and search the web to find an image. So I'm going to click on insert image, search the web. And I'm going to look for an image on the Czech Republic. These are free to use, so you get fewer pictures than you normally would, but that's okay. And I'm going to select an image. Oh, there's the castle. I'm going to pick that one, just one, and then click on insert. And then I'm going to select my Explorer tool. I'm going to go ahead and modify that, and then I'm going to go on to the next slide. Okay? All right. And now we're going to go on to the next slide. I'm going to give you like, let's say, I'm going to give you 1 minute to work on this, just to play around with the tools. Okay, so let's go on to slide number 3. And in this case, let's put in a video about whatever country or city you selected. So you click on Insert Video. Now you may have already picked one out off of YouTube, and you can copy and paste the link in by just clicking on By URL, or maybe you have that video in Google Drive. But for the sake of this exercise, let's just look for a video on your city or country. I'm going to look for one that a tour of Prague. And then here, a tour of Prague. This city is incredible. So I grab this video. I've already watched it, and I want to insert it. And I'm going to be presenting this topic. So maybe I'll put this in so it kind of looks like that. And then I'm going to have it play automatically when the slide loads, and I'm going to mute the audio so that I can talk about touring Prague, and the visual will be, instead of just an image on the slide, there will be a video on the slide. Go ahead, hit present, and you'll see. So I'm talking about Prague, and I'm presenting to my class, and while I'm presenting to my class, they're seeing the video behind. Now, you can pick any video you want, but you can see that by you narrating this, it's a lot more interesting and gives you a lot more credibility. You almost feel like a journalist when you have this video here. So I think it's pretty impressive to use video in slides versus just still images, and that is one way you can do that. And then now we're going to talk about jigsawing with students, and there's a link in the presentation and on the website with a video from a fellow colleague that did a whole blog and video about jigsawing. But select a topic, assign each student to create their version or their contribution on a slide, and import into one slide deck, and then download it as an ebook or share it as a collaborative presentation. And that's what we're going to do in the next step. So you don't need this open anymore, so just close it out. And then I'm going to take us to the next slide, and you're going to click on the collaborative country slides demo. So in this case, now I have a collaborative slides. So if you click on that, you'll see it says about us, add your about me. You're going to add your country. So you want to add your country, and it says view only. So I'm going to have to change that to edit only. So just one moment. And so what you're going to want to do now is you're going to want to click on File, Import Slides, and then you would double click on the slideshow that you just made. Oops, this is this one. File, Import Slides, and this is the slide deck that you just made. And you just import your one slide, okay? And you can keep your own theme so that everyone can see everyone's design. All right, so that's how you make a collaborative slideshow that you can then present, or you can download as a PDF. You can also publish to the web. So if you click on share, publish to the web gives you the options to start the slideshow as soon as the player loads, restart it at the end. So you can have this looping slideshow like you see on community television and on your TV screens that are in your schools of upcoming events. And then you just copy that link and paste it in wherever you want it to display, and it'll do that. And this is a great way to have things running on your screen during open houses or central location, or anytime you want to have information just looping over and over again. This is also something you can set up on your Google website as well. Okay, so that's a collaborative jigsaw. And you may think of that right now as something that is for older people, but I want to show you, I've used it with students as young as kindergarten, this with the caterpillar slides. So this is the same jigsaw concept. In early grades, students are studying patterns in math, and they're studying butterflies. So in this lesson, we combine the topics and have the students create a pattern on the caterpillar with the fill paint bucket. And so fine motor and technology skills are developed while students are thinking critically about curriculum objectives, we hope. And they get to select their own colors for the design. So there's student choice and voice in that at that early age. So you would just open up the caterpillar slides, and I'm going to leave this for you to do, and we're going to move on. But you would select use template, and then you would go ahead and open up the collaborative slides, the edit by all, and add yours to the bunch. So you can see Catalina's got her pattern going on here, and the opening one has a pattern as well. So that's the collaborative slides, the jigsaw for littles. All right. How do you feel about the slides activities that we just did? Would love to know. Well, that's not bad. All right, now we're going to take a look at forms for learning. And this is going to be kind of like get us to the tail end. And we're about an hour, we'll be about an hour into the workshop, which is perfect because the last half hour will be I will show you the Google Classroom, and you'll have an opportunity to pick things to do and work on instead of just having me talk. So you can set up your own class, you can set up your own thing. So just know that the last part of this workshop, you're going to create something, either create a class or use one of the things you learned to customize it and have it ready to go for your own students, okay? So this might be the winner for you. Number 8, learning with Google Forms quizzes. Now, Google Forms is popular for collecting information, but also a great assessment tool, a pre-learning, a formative assessment, a summative assessment. You can embed images and videos in forms and create flipped learning lessons by simply embedding video and links to resources in the form with auto-corrected questions and even open-ended replies. You can assign these pre-teaching activities to be completed prior to working in class, so students can spend the time in class working on projects with your support, making it easier for you to differentiate and offer help to those who need it at the time they need it, and let those who don't need it work independently. The pre-learning activities you can create with forms can maximize learning time and impact results. So let's get started. Go ahead and complete the leaf identification activity and quiz as a student. I've got it set up so it's collecting your email, and you have this video to watch about identifying leaves. Now, I don't expect you to watch the whole video, but you can see that you can put in a video that you've created or one from YouTube and something that teaches a topic. Let's say you wanted to do, you're teaching history to high school students and you want to offer an excerpt on D-Day, and then you want to ask a series of clarifying questions just to ensure that they watched the video, or at least hope they did. What type of leaf is this? So I can insert an image. So I've created a quiz, I have added a video, and I've made a question have an image, which is kind of cool. And this is a maple, so I'm going to pick maple. And then it says which leaf is from an oak tree. So now I'm checking to see like which leaf is from an oak tree. And I'm going to choose the wrong one on purpose. And I'm going to go ahead and put in my name. And I'm going to hit submit. When I'm done, because this was set up as a quiz, I can view the score. I got a 50 out of 100, which means I got something wrong. The final score pending if there was, because there's open-ended questions that aren't being graded, so don't worry about that. What type of leaf is this? Wow. And my feedback is, Yahoo, you got it. Which means when you create the quiz, you can give feedback for correct answers. And you can give feedback for incorrect answers. Not quite. Remember the characteristics of oak? Look at the tree outside our classroom window. Oh. And if I wanted to, I can allow students to take these again. Okay? So that's the leaf identification quiz. So go ahead and close out of that now that you've taken that. And here it says make a copy of that. So you can now make a copy of this, select use template, and then change everything. So I'm going to click on use template. And let's say that you wanted to change this topic completely to something else. And I'll use D-Day as an example. So I'm going to call this D-Day quiz, D-Day introduction. Intro. And D-Day quiz. It's going to be whatever. And then I'm going to change this video. So I'm going to take this out and I could delete it. So I click on delete and I click on insert video here and I'll find one about D-Day. D-Day. There's only a million of them, right? So D-Day from the Germany, D-Day landings. All right, so let's say I pick this one. D-Day landing. I ask a series of questions and this becomes my my quiz. So let's say your first question is going to be, when did D-Day take place? And then maybe you'll take this out. You don't need it. Remove it. And it's going to be June, December, and then April. So those are your three choices. Your answer key has to be edited if you're using mine. So you've got to pick your answer key and change the right and wrong feedback if you want that to be different, because this one, the right and wrong feedback says, you can take this question out at this point. And then you can try out your quiz. So if you click on the eyeball, it'll take you to D-Day intro. Here's the thing. If I select June and put in my reply and hit submit, there you go. What do you think of this great quiz and image feature? And then view score. And then I can see that I got a 50 over 50. Yahoo, you got it. So that's why the template is set there. Obviously you might not want the leaves. That's the easiest thing to fix. You just go to customize theme, get rid of the image, and then you can add your own image or not have an image if you want. Okay? So that's the Learning with Google Forms quizzes. Will you use Google Forms more now? Maybe? Okay. This is just here as a resource for you, because often people say, you know, I'd really like to read more about flipped learning. I'd like to learn more about it just so that I could really start incorporating it in my classroom. So I made a flipped learning on flipped learning. So all you need to do, and you can use your last half hour for this, is you can listen to the entire video about the person that developed flipped learning and then put in your answers and see how you do on the quiz. And before we close up, to have you work on your own project independently, it's really important to have your YouTube channel working for you. So this is just a little tip for you to go to youtube.com. And when you get there, you want to access or create your channel. And to do that, you're going to click on the little circle to the far right, and you're going to click on your channel. And you might need to click on create channel. Okay. Now, once you have a channel created, you have the ability to find videos and make playlists. And playlists can be curated videos on a topic. So I'm using the water cycle as an example, but it also could be that you want to just save it for later. You see a video, you want to know how to save it for later. So I have this watch later. That's always going to be an option when you find a YouTube video that you want to save. It'll show up in watch later. However, let's say water cycle is a topic that you are going to provide a variety of resources for students. So if I hover over here right now, I can click on these 3 dots. I can save it to watch later, or I can save it to a playlist. And if I haven't created one for water cycle yet, I can create it, and then I can make it private or public. If I make it public, then anyone can search and find for viewing. If I make it unlisted, anyone with the link can view. So either option is fine, as long as if you want people to be able to access your playlist, you want to make sure it is unlisted or public. And I sometimes will create private playlists on my YouTube channel. So if you want to curate, maybe you really love watching, I don't know, exercise videos, but you don't want others to see that you've curated these exercise videos or whatever. You want some privacy, so you can have private playlists. So that's kind of a good feature that most people aren't aware, and it's a good idea to just be aware of that. So if you wanted to have a YouTube channel where you're sharing out things, but you also wanted some things that you didn't share out, that's okay. You just make your playlist private. All right. So you can add videos to your playlists, and that concludes all of our activities for today. I think the information on YouTube was also helpful, so I appreciate your feedback. Now, before you go today, I want you to make sure that you click on the feedback survey. That will also ask you what activity you decided to complete as part of your end of day, your last half hour activity. So what I would recommend is going back to the website. I think you bookmarked it, right? Yep, you bookmarked it. And are you going to go join the classroom, or are you going to pick one of these things to develop for your own topic? That's going to be a question asked in the feedback form. So probably work on whatever you're going to work on for now, and then complete the feedback form before you go. In order to get a certificate of attending and receiving the hour and a half PD credit, you need to fill out the feedback form. So I hope that the workshop was very helpful for you today. I am here to work with you for the next 30 minutes and to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.